Hello, this is Gradye Parsons. I'm the Stated Clerk of the Presbyterian Church USA, and this is another session in the series of Where Are We Going as a Church. Today I want to continue to reflect some on a book called Journey into Wilderness by Gil Rendle, a book, again, which I encourage you to get and read for yourself. The point Gil makes today that I want to talk about is that nobody, no organization, no person really can thrive on a pessimistic story. If you look at Isaiah 58, which was a lectionary passage, very recently. Isaiah 58 is God talking to Israel, and God is complaining about their fast. The fast that they are doing are not pleasing to God. Well, the story of these fasts is this. This is the Israel that's come back from exile from Babylon some 60 years later. They're in a half rebuilt Jerusalem. Half of the homes are rebuilt, the streets are half rebuilt. It's all sort of in the middle of a muddle, whether there's really going to be a Jerusalem or not. And in the midst of all this, they stop 4 times a year and have a fast. And these fasts are to celebrate when Jerusalem came under siege, to observe when Jerusalem was destroyed, to observe when the temple was destroyed, and to observe when the governor was executed. Now you would think, it wouldn't be very hard to imagine, that these fasts celebrating something very bad happening in their past would kind of undermine the efforts to rebuild a city if you're continuing to remind yourselves that these walls can be destroyed before. In other words, it creates a very negative image, and God goes on in Isaiah 58 to basically say, you people are grouchy because of these fasts. You don't treat your workers fairly. You don't even recognize your own kinfolk, and you are treating with injustice the people around you. So it's a negative story, and that negative story is affecting the way they live out their lives. Well, Gil's making the same point. No organization can thrive on a pessimistic narrative, on a pessimistic story. You have to have a positive story. Now, the story has to be true. It can't be a story based on fairy tales or false hope or refusing to deal with reality. But it has to be a story that enables people to have a hopeful future, to enable people to think there's going to be something out there for them, something that they can build on. And that's part of what's going on in Isaiah 58, and it's often what's going on in many of our churches. Gil also makes the comment that he thinks some churches are suffering from terminal seriousness. They're so serious about how they're living their faith, and they're so concerned about their church, and they're so concerned about the people in their church and all that, that they never really have any joy, which really is what creates a hopeful environment. I was with a bunch of church people recently who were talking about the stories of their church. They have concerns about their church, but they, at their heart, are still optimistic of the ministry they're about. Even though they're older people, even though there's not as many young people as they want, they still have some sense that God has called them to do something in that place, and they're continuing to seek what it is God has called them to do. As long as they're able to do, they want to keep at it. So think about the Bible story that really reflects what your church is about. Think about whether you're living in your church as a positive narrative or a negative narrative. And if it's a negative narrative, how is it affecting planning for the future? How is it affecting people even being hopeful? How is it affecting people making a commitment to what your ministry is about? Think about that and challenge yourself to find a positive story, a truthful, honest, positive story that you can build your ministry around as we seek to be faithful to what God is calling us to do. Thank you.